Do you hear something? Two cards. Ugh, he must have been saving one.
Good evening, THL. Welcome back to the finale of the Hero Series Finals, where we see the Spies That Flies, who dominated all season, take this championship, or will we see Tam, a long-storied team, end up pulling it out? I am joined tonight by RonMexico. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good, man. This is an exciting series. We already had some fireworks with Base taking her second loss of the season earlier today to put Tanpam's up 9-6, and this game could decide it if Ozmanaut wins. Otherwise, we have another game after this one. So, kind of hoping we go the full length, but if not, it'll be fun to watch either way.
I'm also joined tonight by JRJuggerlaw. How's it going?
I'm excited. I'm nervous. This is like the very end of the season, and I'm like, oh, I'm shaking a little bit. Like this is crazy. This is my first time in finals for Hero Series, and if we win this, this will be my first championship. So naturally, I'm feeling a variety of emotions right now.
And of course, we can't forget the best op out there, Saku. How's it going?
It'd be going better if I unmuted myself. So, the
Such a Canadian thing to do.
The greatest op ever who can't unmute himself. How's everybody doing?
Nice. It's good,
We're
man.
ready.
It's a good day. It's Sunday. It's the final set of games for the entirety of the THL season. All we have left is All Stars and some fun stuff. But this is the last of the real competitiveness.
Yeah.
Yep. This is like, it's been a long season. This is the first time we've had 4 series going on at once. And it feels like the overall activity in THL has never been greater. And it makes it a little extra sad that the season comes to an end now as a result.
Yeah, I mean, anytime a season ends, it's always bittersweet. But that being said, without further ado, let's jump into the classes that these players brought, and we can speculate a little bit on their bans before we get them in. On Spies That Flies side, THLeumer has brought a Hunter, Rogue, Warlock, and Warrior, just like 4 other team members. And on the side of Tanpam Surfslam, Ozmanaut has been mixing it up quite a bit. He's got Hunter, Mage, Priest, and Warrior. So what do you think of these classes, guys?
I'll let Ted start off.
Yeah, very interesting. One thing I do notice is it seems like Spies they have 4 out of 5 players bringing that exact same lineup that Lamer did. Well, it seems like Tampam's is kind of going all over the place, off the board. So that's something to notice. But other than that, what difference is Mage Priest versus Rogue Warlock? I think this could really go either way.
I'm feeling the same way about this. I do feel very confident in Oz. Like both of these players are very strong. As far as just in general, not just as 4 seeds. But looking at the exact classes, it's hard for me to say like one has a distinct edge over the other. I do think it's probably going to come a lot down to bans and queue order, and maybe just some 50-50 matchups going a certain way that that they'll need it to. a lot of these games these individual games could be very close.
Yeah, the hallmark of Hero Series coming down to bans in queue order and which player queues up which class when and how it plays out, whether anyone can win unfavorables or win close matches. On Oz's side, interesting set of classes he brought there. I wonder if there's a very specific kind of ban he's going for here. Priest does well into Warrior, Mage does well into Warrior. Oftentimes Warrior has been the ban, but it doesn't feel like it will be. I'm sort of feeling a Hunter ban from Ozmanaut here with Priest and Mage.
I agree with you 100% there. This is a very similar lineup he brought against me last week, and he ran the Hunter then.
And what do you think on Lemur's side?
This is a tough call because in this case, I guess there's a part of me is leaning towards the Warrior ban, since this is kind of a similar, I would say similar to like what happened with my match with Lotus. So I could, even though the classes are a bit different, I wouldn't be surprised if, getting the wonderful guidance from the higher seeds, Lemur is willing to rely on them and go for the Warrior ban there. Like I get the impression that Base probably would have banned Warrior if it was brought against her by Marty.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty fair to anticipate a Warrior ban. And we do have bans in, correct, Saku?
We do. And for Ozmanaut, his Warrior was banned. And Lemur's was Hunter was banned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same
All right.
I
old,
knew
same
that was
old.
going to happen, but I didn't want to just say that.
So
pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
we are. I'm just going to let the players get going here, and for our viewers, Lemur's going to be the first to spectate. So be on the bottom with Oz, aka Darkhawk, on the top.
Awesome. Yeah, no need to sit around and listen to us speculate anymore. Let's get into the action.
Yeah.
What could be the very last hero match of the season.
Could be. So queue order also pretty important with a Warrior ban from Lemur, having his Hunter banned himself. Rogue seems like possibly a reasonable start from Ozmanaut's side. Maybe ringing the Hunter first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's always an exciting part of the
I think Oz
match
is going to
too.
lead off with
before
the
they
Hunter or
pick.
the Mage, I would say.
Yeah, this determines so many things. It has such a far-reaching consequence with whatever they decide to lead off with. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time after the bans come in for the players to decide what is going to be my best lead and what do I think my opponent will lead with and what's going to be the best thing to counter, what I anticipate they lead with. A lot of psychology there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of it in Last Hero Standing in general, I would say.
Something I would love to see, and I don't know how you could even begin to calculate this, but see like what percentages of matches are just decided by the first leadoff decks in LHS. I would guess it's probably a decent percentage.
We do have
Yeah.
the data there. If it was something that Pat or anyone else wanted to dig into, we might be able to come up with an answer for that.
Yeah, but then that's a lot of oh, if you lead off with a different deck, the matches are going to play the same, and maybe one player gets an upset somewhere, and it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
That's kind of why they say hindsight is 20/20, because who knows what happens
Exactly.
if a different leadoff happens. So it's kind of impossible to know, but it would just be interesting too.
I know I've had it happen before in a hero match where I accidentally clicked on the wrong class too.
Oh,
the wrong class. Sometimes it works out and you're like, oh, I'm a genius for misclicking. And sometimes it really doesn't. You're like, oh, that's not a
RonMexico 5 head.
So far, it still says they are preparing to battle a friend,
Okay.
from what I can
Yeah, I'm
see.
noticing that too.
Okay, just double checking.
So just very possibly, thinking long and
I will
hard
say
about
Oz decided what he's going to lead
impact.
off with, so I'm wondering if it's just Lemur we're waiting on.
Meanwhile, the friends list bug is still kind of, doing its thing, and Lemur has bounced around from rank like 30 legend all the way up to like 5,000 legend
Right.
on my screen here.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. I think he was 36 legend at one point.
Yeah.
And then
I saw like 3 people on my friends list at like 252 for legend.
And
Like, this is ridiculous.
looks like Spectate is now open, so we should be able to get into this game and find out how these players are going to go. Lemur is leading off with his warrior, and Ozmanaut is leading off with his mage.
I think the mage is it's a similar play that a similar call that I went with in my match with Lotus. It's pretty favorable against the lineup, but does also still leave you with some good counter Q decks. So I think this is a solid call.
And Lemur, on the other side, holding a Blastmaster Boom after the mulligan. So this tells us he is Bomb Warrior, which has a very specifically better chance against Mage being able to shut down those Highlander effects.
Yeah, he also had that Deathwing before the mulligan too. That just confirms it.
Yeah.
But I mean, bombs are good to shut down the Highlander mage, but this opening hand is a little rough for Lemur.
Yeah, it gives him a good opening, but he still didn't. But those late game cards, they may or may not get much use later on, depending on what happens.
Well,
holding the Corsair cache is pretty good, especially with Anchor to actually fill in the curve. So despite Lemur's clunky-looking opening hand, he's got a turn 2 that draws him 3/3 Wrench Caliber, and then an Anchor to play on 3. And Lemur, true to form, if you've watched any Tuesday night bar fight, Lemur has become a bit infamous now for always full roping on turn 1.
Yeah, but that Anchor is a huge draw for Lemur, just because now that cache is always going to. Whoa, hold on, hold up here.
What?
That's a Kronks.
He's playing Galakrond too.
Oh man.
I think it's most likely Bomb Warrior featuring Galakrond and Kronks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
It's
playing
a
a list
specific
like this.
tech to beat Priest.
So many choices.
Yeah,
exactly.
But it's just still something out of the ordinary.
It's just two. Yeah, it is interesting, but it's just 2 cards that you fit in, which means usually you cut a green skin, and you cut maybe one of the other potential flex cards. Lemur's still roping. He is here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty straightforward Corsair cache play. Gonna wait until the rope almost bursts out before he does it. You do, Lemur.
I will also just say that if it's funny to me that my current captain is playing against my very first captain in THL. So
that is interesting.
Yeah, right. But it looks like Oz just has the pretty easy turn 2 Astromancer play. Looking good there.
Oh, nice draw for Lemur here. That allows you to have a turn 3 play while getting to play and swing with the Wrench Caliber turn 4.
Big question here, does Lemur use the entirety of the rope to make this play as well?
I feel like if you're having to answer that or ask that question, you haven't been paying attention.
Is it? I know some players actually do this. I'm pretty much a fast player myself, and
me too.
Or if it's an automatic, it's like, okay, boom, throw that out there.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Exactly. So.
Yeah. You can take all the time necessary to think through your plays and your plans for the next turn. Yep. Even if you have nothing to do, there's nothing wrong with using up the entirety of the rope just to try to plot out, multiple turns in advance.
Yep. No, it's just curious. I know some players do that, and it's just more of, like you said, just figuring out each hand, and then the hand after that, and then the hand after that.
See, like I am way too small brain to be able to think to next turn, let alone multiple turns in advance. So I usually just spit out whatever's green and then end my turn.
Right.
Me play green cards.
Miko face.
There are
Ooh,
times though where I
yellow
feel like
highlight.
it's easy to think the play is very simple and straightforward, and you may realize there's more thought that needs to be put in than you realized.
True. And Oz right now with a few decisions to make here.
What to do?
Interesting
What
to see that his list runs an arcane amplifier. It's not too standard among mage lists, but it's quite a strong card in and of itself. And he's got 2 potential 3-drops he could play.
Time
He could
runs
take
out
a
on me.
trade. Most likely, yeah, I think Observer would be the play he wants to make.
Mm-hmm.
And feels like he doesn't need to take a trade here. Just gonna go face.
Oh
And
my
there's the
god.
other wrench caliber, so that means the next Corsair cache is going to be dead. But that means Lemur can put a bunch of bombs in Oz's deck, and that is really good when you have Blastmaster Boom in hand.
Absolutely is. That's 5 bombs, assuming none of them get destroyed by an ooze beforehand. A lemur hovering the non-buffed wrench caliber, which I think might be the correct choice to make. Go ahead and get the weaker one out earlier, see if you can possibly bait out an ooze. Changes his
Right.
mind, thinks he's gonna go with maybe the higher durability instead.
I kind of like playing the lower durability one
Mhm.
this turn because there's a chance you're gonna want to just play the other one next turn.
Right. I think it's a matter of if he had a I think the way to look at it is if he plays the lower durability one and it runs out next turn, he's probably just going to play the second one right after. Whereas like if he had like another possible turn 5 play, I would probably say yeah, play the higher durability one, so that's not an issue.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there.
Instead, though, he does elect to go with more durability on the weapon, and this still can spell disaster for Oz. Holding a Dragon Queen Alex that is definitely not going to be able to come down before all of those bombs start going in the deck.
The Twilight Drake of 4/7 here, that's going to be pretty nice.
Definitely. Lemur here probably is gonna want to lead off with that Sky Raider, see what he can find. Fill out his mana here.
Yeah, and he knows that he has a fairly clean removal on the Twilight Drake as well if he wants to punch the weapon, trade the minion, and use the Shoot Lackey to kill that Twilight Drake. He may be considering not playing any minions just because he knows that the Observer is about to wake up and do 2 damage to his board. But the Sky Raider's not really all that useful anyway.
Ooh, South Sea Captain would keep the Sky Raider alive if he wants to go down that route.
Cheeky.
Yeah, and again, with this awkwardness of not wanting to play any minions because the Observer is going to explode next turn, that's like another reason why I kind of liked playing the 3-2 Wrench Caliber last turn. Instead, he's just going to have to hero power right here.
And I think both players are ultimately fine with how the game has developed so far. I'm sure Oz would have preferred to not see this many bombs being put in his deck, but he does draw one.
Oh, he also has a Solarian Prime.
Ooh, that's pretty good. I think this is just an Arcane Amplifier turn and ping.
Stick an amplifier and deal 3 damage.
Yeah, the biggest problem that Lemur's going to have right now is just sheer board removal because he doesn't really have anything like that.
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke. I meant to say an Odd Hunter hero power.
There you go. A targeted Odd Hunter hero power.
Yeah, right.
What do you mean targeted? Why would you ever not go face with that?
Big Ted
Well
asking
said.
the big questions right now.
Maybe.
Well said.
No.
But this is pretty ideal. I mean, Lemur does have, ways to put bombs in and just keep putting in damage, but Oz has the ability to do the same, so this could just be a war of attrition right now.
Yeah, Oz does represent a not insignificant amount of damage on the board. Those 2 minions plus a ping on each turn represent 9 base damage. And LeMer can't really afford to be taking that damage over and over. He's just going to throw down a Kronks, grab that Galakrond in hand. And now Oz has the information. Should this warrior get through, he knows that this is teched a little bit against Priest. Most likely,
I'm wondering, like, do you point out the Solarian here?
Most likely, I think Oz should be coining out the Solarian Prime. The alternative is potentially just play Rolling Fireball and clear the Kronks. You could even coin and ping with that play just to push that 9 damage face and clear the minion. But with 5 random spells that target enemies if possible, it's really hard to pass up a Prime.
Yeah, literally the only thing you don't want to hit with that is Conjurer's Calling.
Yeah.
That's really it.
He can play box and all kinds of nonsense can ensue.
That's also true.
Time runs out on me.
He could also cast 5 AIs and burn the crap out of your deck.
Oh my god.
Hey, listen, he could also cast 5 Fire Blasts and just win the game on the spot.
Oh wow, he's just gonna freeze.
Interesting. Oz just going with max pressure and conserving resources. I do like this in a lot of ways because he has so many strong power plays with the coin that are enabled.
Yes, he's keeping his options open for next turn. I think he just wants to see like what kind of follow-up is LeMer going to have.
And LeMer's in quite an awkward position. Possibility to just play Galakrond now, gain 5 armor, draw a buffed minion. He may choose to brawl. He's got the option for a Blastmaster Boom, which would still summon 4 bots.
Yeah, because there's 2 in the deck left.
I mean, I think the biggest issue is how afraid are you of just dying if you do that?
Yeah, there's a very strong possibility, that he could just be dead. He knows that the Highlander effects are currently not active, so Zephyrus doesn't represent lethal yet. And looks like he's considering the Blastmaster Boom as his biggest power play here, saying, you don't have the burst to kill me yet.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think of Malagos to get him there.
And now 4 off lethal, top decking an Arcane Breath. Oz has a chance to find lethal with a random spell if he chooses to. He could also rip the Solarian Prime. The coin deep freeze is potentially an option as well.
I think if I'm Oz here, I'm gonna use the Arcane Breath, see if I find lethal from that. If not, I'll just coin out the Solarian Prime.
That's actually a really good point.
So then the decision becomes, well, where does the Arcane Breath target if he chooses to look for lethal with it?
I think in the 6/6, it will weaken it to Flame Strike if you get that off the Solarian Prime. It also allows you to just make a nice clean trade with the 4/5 if you so choose to go that route.
Given that Solarian Prime is also spell damage, though, he could just shoot down the Blastmaster Boom.
Very true.
He wants to go deep freeze. Okay.
This is fine.
At 20 health, he creates a lot of high health targets for the boom bots to hit. Knows that most likely LeMer's not going to have the lethal burst right back. This has been a bit of a game of chicken.
Yeah, LeMer can, however, gain 5 armor here with the Armor Smith? Plus another 2 from the hero power?
Or he could also just brawl if he wants to just ensure that most of this is cleared. It's risky, but it might just be the best thing he can do because he can bring him down to 10, brawl, and then at least 3 of those bombs are going to die, so that leaves some options open.
Yeah, he very could. And then he could also do an additional 2 with the Anchor.
Yes, actually.
LeMer could very well just have lethal coming back at him.
Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah, I think
if he wants to play it safe, he could go Armor Smith and trades, and then brawl. But he just wants to brawl right here. See what the outcome is. It's a lot of bombs going off at the very least.
LeMer's hero power is still green, so I don't believe Dark Hawk is dead yet. What one? Water element.
Water elemental, so that can still absorb some bombs. 3,
Oh,
1, not quite
oh
enough.
my god.
And Lemur electing to armor up. Grom is
Oh
lethal
no.
next
That
turn.
Zephyr is.
Oh,
That's a non-active
offline.
Zephyrus that just got drawn.
ooh.
And Ozmanaut, having already used the coin last turn, now cannot play Alexstrasza on his own face to heal. This looks like it has to be Arcane Breath and maybe also Solarian.
Fireball will do
Otherwise,
it.
he dies. Ooh, that's rough.
Not
think, yeah.
finding the lethal yet.
I think he just has to hit face and rip the Solarian.
Yep. Because there's a bunch of stuff that kills him. He's got to
Yeah.
go for it. He probably wants to go Arcane Intellect or something, or maybe even Magic Trick, but he can't risk the draw or playing something else. He's got to go for Solarian.
No, yeah, I mean, at that point, he's at,
Yeah, he can't risk with the bombs.
yeah, with the bombs.
Probably also thinking, is there any spell off of Magic Trick that could actually give him a lethal or a chance? He could also find a secret.
Come on, man.
There it is.
Just gonna rip the prime right as the rope burns, and we're gonna find out, is the RNG gonna be enough?
Well, that's 4.
Conjure is.
Gave him a
Well,
taunt.
that's a taunt.
Oh no.
Polymorph
Oh, God.
Okay.
doesn't hit the taunt.
Spellbender?
Spellbender. That might do it. That might be enough for Oz to find the win here.
Oh, Lemur even has the Skipper plus Grom combo in hand.
Yeah, he can brawl and go for some damage, but he's not going to be able to brawl and deal 4 damage this turn. So that's
Maybe.
so not over yet.
I don't see a way Lemur can live through this.
Well, Lemur can lead with Brawl if he
Yeah.
wants to, and he could also,
Skipper Armorsmith, yeah.
yeah, just try to find a little bit more armor that could
Yeah.
save him the game.
But I think Lemur needs the 1-1 to win the brawl here. It doesn't.
It's really just going to come down to, will Oz draw a bomb off the top of his deck?
Yeah, very true.
That's it. That's all that could happen. He has
Oz
to
has
rely on that.
2 bombs and 21 decks, less than a 10% chance.
I'm like, oh my god.
And that's not a bomb. That's
Oh.
going to be a game 1 win for Ozmanaut. Solarian Prime coming through in the clutch, blocking the Grom lethal from Lemur, and Ozmanaut eliminating Lemur's warrior in incredible fashion.
That's a bad deck to lose with early.
Absolutely is. Warrior has quite a bit of sweep potential, and now we've got Ozmanaut. His mage will stay up. Lemur's warrior is eliminated. The hunter's already banned, and Lemur is down to either rogue or warlock here to counter this mage. I expect we'll see a warlock queue from Lemur.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that deck or that matchup's a little favored in the Warriors' favor.
It is a bit, you know, Lemur took some chances going for damage instead of inevitability and playing it safe, and Ozmanaut was able to exploit that with just enough damage and survivability at just the right times.
Yeah, definitely winning.
Interestingly, Lemur
Yeah.
queuing up Rogue.
Yeah.
I would also say that matchup can go a number of different ways depending on like the sort of momentum you gain. Because in the case of Warrior, like if they get the bombs in and have the type of and have removal, that's really helpful. But if Mage is able to kind of get their big boards going and you don't really have an answer, then or if they're able to like put a bunch of freezes down to stop you from putting more bombs in the deck, that can be a problem. So it goes a number of different ways.
I wonder if Lemur has maybe a Zoo Warlock instead of a Quest Warlock, because I would have expected to see Quest Warlock here with a bit more of a favorable matchup against Mage than Rogue does currently.
Quickly.
Maybe we'll find out. In the meantime, this clearly a secret rogue, or at least a Highlander.
Well, he has double backstab. I don't think it's Highlander.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice that. That'd be a pretty bad Highlander rogue.
Right? You broke the first rule of playing a Highlander deck.
Well, no, I mean it's big brain. Like he always draws the first 2 backstabs in his top 5, and then it's just Highlander.
And speaking of Highlander decks, we do have obviously Oz's Zephyrus is active and will remain active, presumably, through this entire game. Most likely he's going to play the Solarian here, though.
Yeah. I guess I understand why he's hesitant. He's wondering, like, what happens if that's ambush? But at this point, it's like, what do you really have to fear?
I mean, worst case scenario, it's an ambush and they just trade to each other. Well, I mean, I guess you are a little afraid of the backstab, which we can see THLeumer does have.
But even with the backstab, it's like, okay, you're hitting me for 2 damage. I can find an answer to that if I really want to.
Yeah, it's not like Mage is really worried about their early game board presence.
Nah.
And I don't think Ozmanaut is really going to mind if his Solarian dies, because just last game, the point was proven that you want this minion to die, so you can get that minion, the Prime, into your deck. Ozmanaut almost certainly loses game 1 if he does not play Prime on that turn right before the Grom was going to lethal him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He would
That
have
was
needed.
pretty nuts.
He would needed what I think he took the magic trick, and he would have needed like that into Ice Barrier or something.
Speak of the
I don't
devil.
know. Yeah.
Probably Vaporize.
Oh my god. Yep, Solarian is in the hand now for Ozmanaut.
And THLeumer with an awkward turn, but picking up a Praise Galakron at a crucial time here allows him to actually do something with his turn. And Draconic Lackey, perfectly fine. Can maybe find a 5-mana dragon like a big ol' whelp. Or
You can make
Dragon
it
to play
very
right
random.
now.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
smooth out your curve. You're also getting a decent amount of chip damage here against the Mage, which can always be relevant, especially when you're holding that Eviscerate.
Yeah.
Ozmanaut, though, holding quite a few cards that are useful. Interesting that he immediately drew the Solarian Prime again, so he's got back-to-back games where he can play Prime on 7 if he chooses to.
I'm wondering if this is a turn where you coin out, where you coin and play Zephyrus to maybe grab like Shadow Madness to clear this, because even though you want to save Zephyrus for like a big board turn, this feels like a board where if Oz doesn't do something about it quick, it's gonna really cause some trouble for him in the late game.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, on the other hand, we can see THLeumer can't really punish much past this if he just has worse than a cat, but Darkhawk?
Might be thinking the coin is too important, and very reasonable to just play Zeph now. Maybe he's looking for an Eviscerate or Holy Smite just to clear up the poison minion. Cleave has the potential of doing something good, but most likely Smite has to be the pick.
Yeah, because he wants to get rid of that poison, and this way he has a better use out of his Rusty Raider that he'll probably play next turn on 5.
Yeah, with how expensive his hand is right now, definitely looks like the type of hand where you would prioritize holding the coin.
Yeah, it's a valid play, absolutely.
On THLeumer's side, easy backstab target. Likely just going to dagger up and ambush again. Push some more damage.
The good news for Oz is THLeumer doesn't have a more aggressive, threatening hand right now, so he can still do quite a bit, but he's still waiting a bit before he can really go off.
Something to mention about Darkhawk's hand here is 9 cards in hand, yet that Malagos was not active.
Yeah, wondering where all the rest of the dragons are.
That feels kind of bad.
Feels a little bad.
And THLeumer continually with, a hand that is doesn't really feel all that playable, but top decking plays, and these plays are just fine. You know, he's going to keep being able to play minions, use his mana somewhat efficiently, and keep the pressure up.
Yeah, we're going to see LeMur getting the shot bot off of the Pharaoh Cat, or as I like to call it, transfer student about 10% of the time.
Nice.
That's a good one. I like that.
Kind of an awkward hand for Darkhawk here. I wonder if we just see him coin out the prime and rip it.
I could see him doing that. I feel like you kind of have to coin it here. Or you coin something, you know?
This looks like a good moment to have coined Prime. I'm not sure I agree with the Tiamat play, although Rush Divine Shield is fine to deal with the Ambusher. Maybe he's just waiting for one more turn with a little bit more of a powerful board before you know, he plays the Prime. Another great top deck for LeMur, though, with the Questing Adventurer and a Shadow Step in hand. He could bounce the Pharaoh Cat, he could bounce the Draconic, and play basically everything but Galakrond and charge up that questing.
Yeah, and that would make the questing a 5/5 this turn. So that's pretty good.
Give me a quest.
Definitely upsetting for LeMur to have Galakrond on curve, yet you've only played the Invoke.
Yeah.
LeMur prioritizing getting another dragon rather than a random reborn.
On the wings
Ooh. Do you go for the Twin Tyrant or the big ol' Whelp here?
With this few cards in hand, I would say big ol' Whelp would be better.
I agree.
Even though Tyrant is a little bit tempting, given that it's 8 mana and your turn 8 is coming up.
I mean, like, the other thing about the Twin Tyrant is it's just not the best card against Mage either. You want that if you're playing against a more board-centric deck, but Mage, you know, Mage isn't always going to have a good target for the Tyrant.
And LeMur consistently has had very weak boards to Rolling Fireball and Reno, but as we can see, Oz has not been able to find any of those. Most likely, this is going to be the turn where he's just going to have to let Prime rip. That's the option. Let's see what the spells are. Tome, not great. Gives him an Apexis, not bad. Cone of Cold, very good.
Very good.
Mirror Image, also solid. Crossbow, also very good.
Pretty good. Something interesting to note, he got the Ancient Mysteries, but he does not run any secrets in this deck.
Correct.
Interesting.
I think you just
LeMur
played the big ol'
gonna,
Whelp.
Yep, lead off with the big ol' Whelp. Definitely disappointed, you would expect, with Galakrond being in hand for so long and still having only invoked once. Gonna try to find that other invoke, and there it is.
Ooh, that's big.
We're certainly gonna see this get played right now. That's gonna be the second invoke. Galakrond's gonna come down for LeMur on the next turn, almost certainly.
Yeah.
Now a Witchy Lackey. Considered evolving Ozmanaut's face. Turns out, not a legal play.
Nope.
Evolves his big ol' Whelp and a
rolling
huge draw
fireball.
with rolling
That's a
fireball
really
off
good
the
rolling
top.
fireball. He can actually clear the board right now, and that's pretty huge. I think he does
More
that.
likely he would ignore the Nidhogg and clear everything else, starting on the Witchy Lackey and maybe push 7.
Yeah.
He definitely plays the fireball, though. Like, I mean, I guess he could, in theory, just play the Apex Blast, but I feel like this is too good of an opportunity.
Oh, no. Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, and he's still got a minion left that he can play to be a little bit efficient with his mana just by dropping the amplifier. Chooses to remove the board instead of push damage. Also perfectly reasonable play. And now, with basically no options but Galakrond, LeMur's playing that Galakrond.
Probably going to eviscerate, I imagine.
Not the greatest.
Yeah, these are not good for LeMur right now. He's just going to have to eviscerate the Prime, and yeah, there was a. I was wondering if he would punch into this mirror image to punch it down next turn. As we can see, he might not be able to. ever swing again with the deep freeze that Ozmanaut is holding if he chooses to play it right now.
I feel like
Yeah.
this is a great deep freeze turn, so I think he should do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is just too good. You can also probably have a decent idea that Lemur's hand is kind of awkward here,
What to do?
just based off of how he's played up until this point.
Right.
Again, power creation
Looking
instead.
for more powerful
Um,
minions, Scribe is
Let's see,
excellent
yeah.
against something like a Flick.
Seems like a pretty easy scribe to me.
I
Could be
like Scribe,
Archmage
but
just
I
for
actually
the health.
prefer Archmage here, even with both eviscerates having been used already.
And Oz wants to go spell power and health. Takes the
Dirty Tricks is a very nice draw for Lemur here.
Arc Magi. And
For a number
yet,
of reasons.
Dirty Tricks enables a stunner play with a Shadow Step if Lemur wants to use it to bounce multiple things back. Obviously going to start with that
Zap
Spell
is-
Lackey. There's more bounce effects. Or Clever Disguise for some resource generation.
Mm-hmm.
Blade Flurry would be absolutely terrible. I don't think Lemur's considering that for a moment.
Wait,
I mean,
are
he
you
could.
are you saying you don't want a 4-mana Arcane Explosion? I can't possibly imagine what would be wrong with that.
Wisely takes the sap. Sap enables maybe a Shadow Step on the Spell Lackey instead of a Stunner if he wants to clear up his board a little bit.
Swings.
Don't let the
Or he
door
could
hit
bounce everything to look to mill Oz.
I think he's going to want to save the sap for something
Don't let
else,
the
but I
door
can see
hit
that.
Yeah.
I don't see the sap being worthwhile on the amplifier.
Well, all right, guys. I just have one question.
What's that?
What's in the box?
Very unlikely, I believe, that Oz would actually play that now, but it would be spectacular.
It would be hilarious.
Come on, Lame, stop, or come on, Ron, stop being a killjoy.
Ron
I wonder.
Killjoy Mexico.
As we can see, Oz just drew Dragon Queen Alexstrasza off the top. That would have been quite an interesting one if Lemur had decided to sap this amplifier. It would have burned the DQA. But Oz now has a lot of choices. The board's still
What
not
to
very
do?
threatening.
What to do?
Just gonna read
Well, Oz knows this isn't an ambush because both have been played already. So he knows it's either Dirty Tricks or Bamboozle. So I guess he's just decided to play Reno. Is either Conjurers?
Likely just gonna Conjurers for more power on the board. Doesn't mind that Lemur's gonna draw a couple of cards. At this
Those are
point,
two
he's
very
just
nice
pushing the
minions.
aggression.
Oh.
Crocs is a little awkward here.
Yeah. So is Hanar, because I don't know if Lemur has any secrets left.
Yeah,
Can always lead with a Seal Fate.
I think he'd have to.
He
Yeah.
also has the option of a Sap, which would be enough to full clear the board.
And would make Oz burn a card next turn, so that is relevant. Oh yes, that's true. There's probably still a second Dirty Tricks.
Looks like
So,
that's the
I don't know.
play. He's going for the Kronks,
Too
and
late.
he's going to
Turn
take
is
that board
nigh.
clear. 5 damage to all minions. Does he evolve the Kronks and look for something like a Winged
My
Guardian?
hand is too full.
He's going to hold the Witchy. And there's an Alex, OG Alex, burned off the top for Lemur.
Hmm. Honestly, at this point, I feel like if Oz just wants to play it safe, he should just Apex's Blast and ping it. Like, it doesn't give him anything else to play this turn, which is unfortunate. But I think he kind of knows, like, he wants to get rid of a big threat like that immediately. And he knows, like, Apex's Blast is going to be best for dealing with something like this. I think the only other option is maybe play Deep Freeze on it.
I kind of like the deep freeze just because you're also developing your own board.
That's fair.
Deep Freeze a bit more mana efficient and definitely a bit stronger. He knows he's still got minions left in the deck, so the Apexis also could just be used for potential lethal burst later. Now we've got Pharaoh Cat probably activating
my
Misprint.
God.
Hey, look at that!
Holy shit.
There's a Winged Guardian. Who needs to evolve your Kronks into a Winged Guardian when you can just get one from a Pharaoh Cat?
I mean, like, I don't understand why you're talking about one or the other. He could evolve the Kronks and have two on board.
And Lemur electing not to play the Winged Guardian.
Very interesting.
Just going for Lackey Generation here. Are we going to see a Witchy on the Frozen Kronks and maybe a Taunt or a Rush?
Oh my god. Oh my
That's-
god.
That's pretty gross.
That's quite the 4-mana card.
I'm just laughing at the ridiculousness that that's 4 mana. I mean, like obviously it has the overload as the drawback, but
And
not
yeah,
just the drawback here.
he's looking at the Rush Lackey just to clear up one of these Water Elementals. The other Water Elemental can freeze Kronks, and Oz is just going to be looking at
Jesus.
4 damage on the board. He wants to stall things a turn, and a wealth of options in hand. Anything from Calicos to finding out what's in the box.
I think I like just slamming the Caligos here to start your turn. Or you could go.
Considering the Malagos, Malagos also makes a lot of sense. You can find a freeze, you can find a polymorph.
Oh, we
There's
find the
Polymorph.
polymorph.
Polymorph is good.
Missile's not even that bad on this board either.
Yeah, like missiles isn't terrible, but polymorph is just so much better here.
It also gives him a lot more time as far as recovery goes for next turn.
Yeah.
And wisely not hovering over the draw 4 cards that
Time runs
burn
out on
things
me.
in his deck.
Not a big deal, right?
Going with the polymorph makes a lot of sense here. Take the most power off the board. Just wants to play a mana saver. Do we push face? Or are we clearing a minion?
I think
Clear
clear
that
that
Pharaoh
is
Cat.
fine, even though it's not taking away much. I do think this is a Wingardium turn, though.
THLeumer with the Ebon here. He could go off next turn with that. Especially if he hits the button here.
Yeah, and Lemur sees how close he is to winning the game. He's got the option still to press the button and have enough mana for Winged Guardian and a Lackey, whether he chooses Kobold or Draconic. Still not playing the Guardian,
Oh, Bright Wing.
and now we probably do see Guardian come down. Just going to push that 4 damage. Lemur has board locked himself, leaving himself wide open for a freeze and a Doomsayer. As we can see, though, Ozmanaut is not holding either of those as options.
He is
Over
likely
him
to
off
get
the top.
Frost Nova off of the Tortolan, though, I believe.
Very true.
Based on what's left in this deck. It's a tough call because Freeze would be really good here, but that Winged Guardian is just putting this big body onto the board that Oz is not going to have an easy way of dealing with.
Something that's very awkward for Oz is having that double Archmage in his hand.
Very much
Yeah,
so.
it's really
Eating up
creating a
hand
lot of
space.
board space issues, or hand space issues.
But even if both of them were sapped, he'd still be in pretty much the same exact position.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's got
Calicos can
options.
also find a freeze or
Time runs
enable
out on
a big spell to be played if he wanted to just rip the box if he has no other options, because he is staring down lethal.
Yeah. I think... Okay, that's what I thought. He's going to Apex's Blast.
And
Freeze
just an
and
ogre.
the blast does theoretically remove lethal from the board. Lemur, if he picks up Shadow Step or any number of things, he most likely presses the button to look for lethal. He's 3 off right now, and there's a lot of ways to find it.
The biggest issue though is board space.
Oh.
Is that exact?
No, he's one off.
Yeah, he's one off, and he also doesn't have the board space to play both the shoot lackeys.
Oh, that's right, because he only has one, so yeah.
Yeah, so
I
what
think-
you were saying about last turn about him board locking himself, Ron, came back to be relevant.
And he's board locked again here.
There's the Doomsayer.
Are we going to ask the question now, guys?
I mean, this may be the time at 5 health to say what's in the box, but that does leave your fate all up to RNG. There is still the chance to play a Pilgrim here and look for a freeze with only 11 cards left in deck. Also, Calicos can always find a possible card that saves Ozmanaut as well.
I feel
Yeah,
like I like the Pilgrim Doomsayer here.
Yeah, I think you have to, Pilgrim, hope you get that Frost Nova. Boom.
Finds that Frost Nova.
That's what you need.
We are most likely seeing the Doomsayer to follow, allowing Oz to have
You don't even
potentially
clear
just
the
a clean
4/5
board.
because you
No,
just want to board
absolutely
lock.
not. No.
Or wait, no, Oz, no, wait.
Granting board space
I mean, it
could
doesn't
have
end
put
up
himself
mattering
in a
much here, but
dangerous
still.
spot.
Oh my god.
And that is gonna be lethal with board space, which is going to be created. So now Ozmanaut has to find, not that he knows it yet, but has to find some kind of healing or win the game on the spot, or the game is over.
I think we see the Caligos lead off here, definitely.
Dragon
No.
Queen can always find Nazari.
Yeah, true.
That's what he's hoping for. 2 dragons.
All right, and these dragons are going to determine this game. What do we see?
Nothing.
And that's going to be a
Nothing.
win on the other side for LeMer. Shoot lackey, shoot lackey, shoot
Oh
lackey.
my god, you're kidding me.
That's insane. Like irrelevant, but insane.
Immediately gets
Oz
waxed
is
the
gonna
red
be
off the top.
sad right now, 'cause
Not
I'm
that
sad
it
for
matters.
him.
1-1.
And LeMer picking up a huge win with the Rogue over Mage, eliminating Ozmanaut's Mage, tying up this series 1-1. Ozmanaut now down to his Priest and his Hunter. LeMer still with Rogue up. He's going to be queuing Rogue next, and with Warlock in his back pocket. So up against Rogue, I think Ozmanaut probably goes Hunter, since Priest often struggles against Rogue. But Oz is good with Priest. He might just go Priest.
I definitely think so.
None can
Definitely
escape
Hunter.
my fury.
Yep.
And it is the Hunter, so this match very much a coin flip in a lot of senses. It's going to depend a lot on, for the Hunter, whether they can get pressure and, most importantly, hit him in the face with Bran on 7.
Hail, friend.
And for the Rogue, how quick can you invoke and find your broken stuff? Or, alternatively, can you scam them with Edwin or the Edwins Jr.?
Lucky for Oz, LeMer doesn't have anything like that as far as scamming plays go.
Traveler.
But that could change if he draws any kind of
Hail,
secret.
friend.
We shall see.
And LeMer, true to form, roping once again on turn 1.
Think.
I will also say I found Oz's mull a bit surprising because I did expect him to at least keep the Scale Rider to have that early game momentum. But I guess he really wanted to go for other cards, and oh
Ozmanaut
my.
with an excellent draw right off the
Ooh.
top. Now enabled to coin a Felmaw right into a Fairy Dragon, or vice versa. Possibility to maybe track or pass seems more likely. We would see the coin here.
Yeah, this is an ideal, in this matchup especially, it's very ideal.
If you have the chance to coin Felmaw, you usually like to coin Felmaw. And LeMer in response, nothing really all that effective for the board. I expect we see him dagger up and then consider whether or not he wants to hit face to deactivate a top decked Seal Fate or hold back. Going with the Hanar now with no secrets in hand, just risking it for the scare card, I suppose.
That's a
Just
nice top deck.
Yeah, Darkhawk's gonna panic a little bit here, but there's nothing he can really do about it. He's just gonna have to slam a fairy dragon and hope Lemur can't punish him.
Which isn't really bad in fairness. I mean, he
And
either has
Lemur-
to trade in a hero power or trade in like both minions. So I don't really see that as a big problem.
Lemur did not find the secret off the top to enable 2 secrets being played right now with a third on the way. Very surprised that he slammed the Hanar down on turn 2 with no secrets in hand. And here Ozmanaut, face Ma goes face. Top decks a Guardian Og Merchant, enabling a better, easier clear of Hanar if he chooses.
I think you have to do that just to avoid any risks with that.
Ron, I just want to ask you why you even brought up the point. Like Facema always goes face. Like, why would you even mention it? It's like saying the Hunter hero power goes face. It just happens.
Well, I
Never
mean,
fails.
Ted, did you
Except
see the
when it
Did you
fails.
see the earlier match where this happened?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think that was real.
No, I'm saying go face.
Oh, it did go face.
It was a situation where if it hit a minion, it was a 1 out of 3 chance if it hit a minion, or 1 out of 4 chance if it hit a minion instead of going face. Marty would have won the game, but it went face. So
Darkhawk took some
Interesting.
ballsy plays.
Ozmanaut saying, hey, you didn't have a secret, you didn't top deck one, I'm not getting punished by a top deck, and
He
to
does.
his chagrin, here is a top deck
I'm gonna
secret.
punish him now. I'm just like,
Lemur
what are you
choosing
doing,
the Paladin
man?
secret. A bit interesting here that we saw that. I assume that's because he's playing
Don't
Stunner,
let the door
and
hit
yep,
you.
indeed he is.
And that's a huge punish.
And yeah, that was a Divine Shielded Felma that now costs 3 and will not wake up for 2 turns. That effectively just kills the Felma and makes it a dead card for almost the rest of the game.
Luckily, Oz is still going to be able to clear off the Hanar, and that 2 health buff goes to minions that aren't really a huge threat to him anyway.
And yep, a very important top deck of Corrosive Breath for Ozmanaut that clears up the Hanar even through the Never Surrender. But he doesn't really have much else he can do with his turn, unless he wanted to track and float mana. Also pretty important to look at Lemur's health total. Even though things kind of went his way in some ways with Hanar and Secrets, he's down to 13 already. That's a lot of damage that has been pushed over 4 turns from Ozmanaut.
Definitely. What, Ozmanaut has lethal in 7 turns?
More or less.
Just not the best hand from Ozmanaut here.
No.
And he knows that secret is not dirty tricks. I would say it's unlikely to expect that it would be Bamboozle, which means he should be thinking, okay, this secret is ambush, so if I play a minion, it's going to trigger it. Looks like he actually wants to get the face maw on the board again. He's thinking about it, and he's ripping it. He's going to give Lemur the other 2 power on board right now, and just keep sending damage. He says, make your board as wide as you want. It doesn't matter. Face Maw's gonna go face, and I'm accelerating that clock. And on the other end, Lemur with a lot of damage, who can very possibly just push lethal before the Falma wakes up, and healing and taunt in the way. Defender was an absolutely massive pickup from the Pharaoh Cat. Oz going with a little bit of healing.
Our tombs.
I think I just like the Scout Rider exactly. Shoots down the minion, takes a little bit of pressure off of him. Plus, it's going to leave a much bigger body behind than the Zixar would.
But 8 damage on board coming back Ozmanaut's way. This is a pretty scary board to be facing down. LeuMer holding Galakrond, just gonna let it rip. Oh wow.
Oh my
What
goodness.
a massive pickup. That's just lethal next turn.
Yep.
And yep, LeuMer wisely just going to keep as many minions on the board as possible. Go face. And here it is. Face Maw goes face. Trade Maw. What happened?
Alright, Blizzard, your game's broken.
And now Ozmanaut probably just needs to track. There aren't really many other options
He
that
could
save
definitely
him.
track, but he can also still clear a decent amount of this.
Yeah, he can Hound Zixar.
It's not great,
But-
but it's doable. Actually, wait,
I
no,
don't-
because of the Shadow Step, that's going to be lethal
Well,
one way or another.
Ozmanaut doesn't know
Yeah.
that LeuMer is holding a 1-mana Kronx and Shadow Step to where he's guaranteed dead if he doesn't heal. Whether or not the board sticks at all is irrelevant to LeuMer at this point. He
Yeah, I'm
has the
completely
lethal.
forgetting about
So
that.
the only play that Ozmanaut has that could possibly save him is a tracking into his Zephrys, which even then probably doesn't even offer the cards that rescues him. Board-wise, most likely the best play is just to say, you know, I can't really play around that. If you have it, you have it. He's going to deal with the board as best he can, take damage off, but that is going to be another win for LeuMer, and Ozmanaut's Hunter will be eliminated here.
Yeah, we can say Ozmanaut had both clear the board and heal his face. And I don't see how he's doing that at 7 mana when he doesn't have anything.
And
in the
tracks
chance of
last,
losing this.
probably should have tracked first just to look, but as we can see from the tracking options, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. LeuMer giving him the bad news. Here's the Kronx, here's some damage. Doesn't even need to step it. Also picked up an Eviscerate. And that is going to be a victory for LeuMer in Game 3, taking a 2-1 lead. And really massive for his team right now, knowing that the Spies are eliminated. If he loses to Ozmanaut, he is now 1 game away from ensuring that we will get a final set of games with Avi and A2. Just has to win with either Rogue or Warlock. Ozmanaut down to Priest.
You give me strength. None can escape my fury.
And generally, in my experience, Rogue has felt fairly favorable against Priest here, but Priest can always do all kinds of discover and steal nonsense that gives them a chance against anything, so this should be an entertaining one.
Hail, friend.
I always find that the big thing with Priest and
Blessings
whether
to
they
you.
win often has to do with whether they draw any answers to their large plays. Like, do they draw the time reps? Time reps. Excuse me. Or if they draw something like Shadow or Death to be able to combat something like a big questing adventurer or a Van Cleef.
Right, and Soulmere are also pretty crucial in that respect, which we do see Oz holding. Granted, it wouldn't matter if LeuMer's able to stick an earlier minion,
Right.
Or earlier in the game sticks a questing or an Edwin. Also, I wonder if LeuMer's feeling a bit more anxious because he did not actually rope turn 1 as is his custom.
Once again, asking the important questions.
Oz passing on the opportunity to heal face and emote. What is this game I'm watching?
Not Hearthstone, that's for sure.
I think the only question is Ozmanaut gonna get punished for it?
Ooh, I like this draw.
Draws a Lazul off the top. Often the card you want to play on turn 3, especially on an empty board. Knows that he could potentially trigger the secret since he hasn't played any cards to have any information on it. If he does play the Lazul, he will find out that this is not an ambush.
well, this is just like that turn from the mage match where he played the Solarian. Didn't really have much to fare if it was an ambush, and I think this is pretty identical.
Future is clear. Your demise be near.
Gets offered a Shoot Lackey, a Backstab, and a Shield of Galakrond. Well, one of those is a card that Ozmanaut main decks, so I'd have to assume he's gonna take the Shield.
Yeah, I don't think he needs the extra damage given the content of his hand, and the shield would also make it that much easier for him to play the Fate Weaver in a couple turns, so that's pretty relevant.
And the Azul enabling a Backstab Miscreant play or Shoot Lackey Miscreant goes with Backstab, leaves himself with some mana for Lackey or Praise, elects the Praise.
And Lemur he's gonna have a fully invoked Galakrond if he can ever find it.
Oh, that's really good.
Double
Yeah,
shield.
already holding 2 other invokes and 2 invokes in. Get some more card draw here with that coin. And Ozmanaut playing the real Shield of Galakrond and not the stolen one.
Also, shadowy figure into the Mind Flare would be pretty amazing at some point.
Yeah, I would say so. Especially if you can get it on just any giant minion.
Pretty much.
Giant Edwin, maybe.
Wonder.
A Questing Adventurer. What is it?
Actually,
Questing
actually
Van
those
Cleef wouldn't work.
yeah, those wake up as the base.
Adventurer.
Silly
sorry.
Ted.
Like I've said before, I'm just trash at this game.
And yet you played on Destubs, so I refuse to believe that.
Very surprised that Lemur decided to lead with a Shoot Lackey and tank the 4 damage here instead of using a Backstab. But again, in Priest matchups, you know, Rogue often doesn't really worry too much about their health total and just uses it as a resource.
Interesting decision using the Threat here. Oh, I get it, because
trying to get a card out of his hand so it doesn't burn.
no,
well,
that,
also,
but he was
just
also
to
afraid
block
of
the
Togwaggle.
Togwaggle on 6 is a
Definitely.
very real fear. Especially because, you know, that comes a little bit earlier than a Murzon that can answer the wand that could potentially get played. Wow, that's
Well,
quite the evolve.
He hits a
That's-
legendary minion. That's pretty insane.
And that looks like a good one to Mind Flayer if I'm Ozmanaut.
Yeah.
Mind Flayer,
being
then shadowy figure.
Mind Flayer, shadowy figure, you're not looking at a ton of damage coming back your way, and you are at 29 health. That would be a very strong way to create a lot of headaches for Lemur.
I like that, yeah. Because the problem is, even if you play the Shield of Galakrond here, you're not really putting yourself in a great position as far as like being able to do a lot with the Fate Weaver the following turn. So I think you can wait.
Going with Mind Flayer, going with shadowy figure.
The timing of that Apotheosis is going to be pretty huge, though.
Reconsidering the shadowy figure.
I feel like it's just way too good here.
Yeah, you're not going to get a better opportunity to use this.
Absolutely not.
I feel like it would be much better to have a Death Rattle that summons 2 high mains rather than the alternative.
I'm really trying to understand the logic behind that
And
play.
what a draw from Lemur. Now we see the punish once again by not using the shadowy figure here. Gets the ambush, gets the stunner to bounce that Mind Flayer right back. Pushing some more damage with the high main. A Miscreant as well to get more lackeys. And we'll see what he does with his final 1 mana. Taunt Lackey goes somewhere witchy instead.
And that is going to come back to bite him.
Oh my god.
Ozmanaut, once again, with the same possible play, if he wants to, he can still Mind Flayer again, and also Shadowy Figure, if he would like. It's a little bit less effective as it was on the previous turn. He's already seen a Dirty Tricks, which makes the secret more likely to be ambushed than the second Dirty Tricks to draw Lemur some more cards. He's got the option of a Soul Mirror, which would be reasonable on this board, but maybe not his favorite usage of it. Wealth of options, a whole lot of decisions that he could make. What is he going with?
Soulmare.
Soul Mirror it looks like, which I
I
think
think
is fine.
very good to clear off that Tricaster. Lemur had so much burst from hand with that Tricaster on board.
Yeah, the Tricaster giving 3 spell damage is a bit concerning. So Oz just wants to get that out of there. Now we've got a similar board, and there's a Togwaggle.
There is a Togwaggle.
Lemur see Togwaggle, Lemur play Togwaggle. Holding a backstab for another easy clear of the Hyena if he would like. Could also dagger down the 1/1 and push 5 face. Has the option of taunting or evolving. Evolving Togwaggle could be quite strong since he's an understated 6, but instead going to taunt him up instead.
That's
Once
pretty
again,
huge.
Ozmanaut just barely off of activating that Fate Weaver and top decks an Invoke, a cheap one at that, enabling a discount of his entire hand if he would like, although that would leave him with only 3 mana left to work with to deal with this massive board.
Which isn't terrible, though.
Holding Apotheosis and Penance, has the option of healing a bit, really wants to stick a minion so that he can play Apotheosis and try to get back into this game. Disciple is going to reveal that this secret is an ambush.
Which is fine.
Ozmanaut will have to heal or clear something off here, as Lemur does just have lethal with the Eviscerate.
He can. I think he's fine though, just with playing the shield and then having the secret.
Yeah, definitely.
That works
But
out.
he just had to do something there so he didn't die. Oh man.
And another Eviscerate along with Wand already charged up and ready to go. Lemur probably going to start off by some counting, see how close he is.
He's not
obviously
he's
coming
not
up
too
first.
close. And,
Oh,
That's a 0 mana
man.
Galakrond. That's a 0 mana Flick.
Oh.
So I think we're gonna probably see what the shield.
You actually do want to play Shield first
and then the free
to full
Galakrond.
invoke.
Ooh.
And you might want to Shield trade a 1/1 just to have board space for Flick on
what
his
is he?
shield.
What is he?
I wonder.
Does he not care about getting the full invoke?
I feel like getting the full invoke is just way too strong.
Swiftly.
Uh-oh.
But these draws look like a disaster for Ozmanaut. The only trouble here for Lemur seems to be just overwhelmed with options. Going to make sure he clears up. No, he doesn't clear the minion. I thought he targeted that for a second. Just going in. Now enabling Oz to finally have an Apotheosis target, although it doesn't heal for much.
Yeah.
And with all this damage, this looks close to over. Ozmanaut, though, with a Renew, that can always find even more healing.
Death is really good here.
Yeah, Death is very strong.
You can also still Fate Weaver Karj to copy the Togwaggle for something big and play the Death, which I think is perfectly reasonable. Or does he actually have to play Volpera Scoundrel to clear the board because of the, oh no, yeah, he's got to do more than that.
This looks like the turn where Ozmanaut would likely want to drop the Fate Weaver and also play Death and Apotheosis. I think at this point you need to heal as much as possible from the priest side. And Fate Weaver discounts quite a bit to enable some good plays. Subjugator is also very relevant for 0 mana, able to take a little bit more damage off the board. Likely will punch a Hyena and Subjugator a Hyena.
Submit, heretic!
And even going as far as Shadow Stepping, I don't know if he got it off. Did he get to play it to remove 1 more damage? He did not. So that's,
that's game.
12 off lethal and 2 eviscerates. Full invoke with the weapon. Yeah, if Lemur wants to play Shield of Galakron, he has a lethal here.
Yep.
I will act as your scapegoat.
There he goes, doing the math. You know, 5 plus 8 right there, plus the board, more than enough to get there for the lethal. Still double checking, just making sure. Playing a flick first, unnecessarily. Maybe he doesn't see it yet. Probably just not wanting to burn cards from Galakron without looking yet at his lethal burst. But once he sends all this damage, he'll see it. Kronks, even more overkill. A 1-mana Kronks. And that is going to end this game in favor of THLeumer, picking up a very strong 3 straight wins with Rogue. And this is going to put us into the final match.
Yeah, it's going to be A2 versus Aviously, or Obviously, which, you know, a lot of
teammates going at it.
Yeah, a lot of people were very excited for that matchup, and that matchup ending up being the one that decides the championship. That's insane.
Very exciting. We called it on Saloon that it was going to come down to Avi versus A2, and here it is, Avi versus A2, match 5 of the series, with a 10-9. No, sorry. Tanpams now has Tanpams has 10, and Spies has 10.
10.
It's 10-10 right now. What a series we have. I know we probably have to jump right into the game. Is there any time for an interview, or do we need to just keep it moving?
Well, no, it looks like A2 isn't even online in BNet yet, so I would guess we probably have a minute
online.
or two.
I just pinged A2 in the chat, so he'll.
Yeah. So I mean, I would guess we probably have a minute or two for a quick interview while they get ready.
So I let him know it might need to be brief. Let's find. Is anyone friends with Lemur on? You are, Ted, right? You can add him. Oh, JR as well. Excellent.
Apparently, I'm not friends with him.
Wait, I thought. Am I? Holy.
We're a mess here, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoops. Wait, how do you invite some? Oh, wait.
Okay, no worries. I sent him a friend request. Okay, and now I should be able to add him. Oh, you got it. Excellent. Hey, Lemur, congratulations.
I'm not terrible at this, apparently.
That was quite the victory.
Thank you so much. I'm completely putting that out. That one out to playing a tempo 2-mana 1/4 that paid off in a big way.
Oh my goodness! I was so surprised that you played that Hanar.
Oh my god, no! My exact reasoning was like, oh, he's gonna play Fairy Dragon, and this is a value trade, and then I'm gonna top deck a secret, and that exact thing happened. I was like, all right,
well, you actually didn't top deck a secret, and Ozmanaut elected to use his Guardian Og Merchant to hit his own
instead of killing the Hanar.
Killing your Hanar, which punished him spectacularly when you top decked another secret and were able to bounce the Felma back into his hand. But it was a really exciting series to watch back and forth, and very extremely well played with the Rogue in those 3 victories.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was talking with Based before the series, and we decided that Secret Rogue was definitely the bring to face down the Priest, because it just has like such a better matchup against Priest than the Stealth variant does, and it really paid off in this series, because Hanar was a big part of the first 2 games, and then the last game was just, whew, it was a nail biter, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely was. And I'm sure, you know, you were well aware that if Ozmanaut got the victory, that was going to do it. That would have sealed the championship
Oh, yeah.
for Tanpams. So coming up with big wins in the clutch to give your team a chance. And now it all comes down to Avi versus A2.
Oh yeah, we're all gonna be watching with bated breath. That's gonna be a fantastic
yeah.
series. I'm incredibly excited. You guys are getting it on stream, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's coming up right now, which is why we may have to cut this interview a little
Oh,
bit
you're
short.
good.
We're
I'm
just
pumped.
we're given some time for the players to get set up and line up their bands, but we figured we had just a little bit of time to talk to you. Is there anything in particular, shout outs you want to give, mentions about the matches that you played,
Yeah,
anything like that?
absolutely. First of all, Oz is the most pleasant opponent I've ever played against in THL.
Oh,
Very. We were just talking beforehand and having a great time, leading up to the series, and then like talking about life and everything. Got right down into it and had some great series. I apologize to everyone for not roping turn 1 in the last game. I noticed it right after I did it. I was like, well, shit, I can't get that one back, can I? So I had to rope turn 2 instead, but it was okay. It ended up working out in my favor. But yeah, just shout out to the team this whole season. They've been fantastic. I'm very excited for this last game. And shout out to my wife who was in chat in the other room that we have at our house. She was rooting me on, and
Aw.
that's absolutely fantastic.
What a guy. This man knows how to have a successful marriage. Always shout out the wife. Well played.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's like rule number 1 of Hearthstone, isn't it? Tell me I'm wrong.
Hey, any time that you can you know, give a shout out or any kind of recognition to your significant other, it is always the right move. So well played in the game, well played in real life. Congratulations to THLeumer, and we're all very excited to see this upcoming match. So any last words, THLeumer, before we let you go?
No last words. Go get it, guys.
All right, awesome. Thanks,
Thanks for
congratulations
being
again.
on.
And we'll get to these classes in this matchup coming.
All right, see you guys later.
Take care. So what we have is a Hunter, Rogue, Warlock, and Warrior. Once again, the standard lineup that seems to have been brought from Spies That Flies, that is on Aviously side. And on A2 Battleship side, we have a Demon Hunter, Hunter, Rogue, and Warrior. So I would do some speculation on what the bans might be. However, the bans are already in, so we know what we're gonna see.
Yeah, I just confirmed with
Double warrior
Avi.
ban, everybody.
Yep, confirmed with Avi that it was a double warrior.
So sticking with the overall theme of most of this hero series, the most banned class in the hero series is the one that gets a double ban, and we're gonna have matches of Avi's Hunter Rogue Warlock versus A2's Demon Hunter Hunter Rogue. And I know the players are just getting all settled and ready to go. We'll be starting in just a moment.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and give these players the go ahead, and we'll see how they queue up.
Hey, it's my job, man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll let the players know. So Avi's quick comment was all in caps, double warrior bands, and I said surprise, and he said who could have seen that coming? Crazy. So that's pretty fun. All right, so we'll let the players get going here, and for our viewers, A2 Battleship will be on the bottom, so that's first to spectate for us, and obviously is going to be on top.
Excellent. So what do you think we're going to see as a leadoff from either side?
I know what A2 is leading off with.
Oh, fair enough.
With Avi, I suspect it's going to be Rogue. Just to kind of get that out of the way.
All right. And it looks like the players are in match. Let's go in and spectate them. And what we have is, from Aviously, a Hunter, and from A2, a Rogue.
Let the hunt begin.
Very interesting
Watch
hand from
your
Avi here,
back.
with a Blood Mage THLeumer and an Arcane Shot. Not your typical hunter.
So are we going to see a rope for turn 1 with both these players?
Let's not
Who
tempt
knows?
fate just yet.
Greetings, traveler. Nothing but a bunch of big birds!
All right, and looks like a pretty standard rogue from A2's side. I don't know if I've, at least if I saw it, I missed it, whether or not he has any secret cards or stealth cards. I don't see either
I don't think he saw it.
that showed up in the mulligan. And yeah, this looks like just a straight up face hunter from Aviously.
It is.
Was questioning it for a moment with the THLeumer, if there was maybe something else that was sneaky and spicy, but the Sand Trooper is a dead giveaway. This is face.
This is pretty good.
And A2 able to get a big Edwin charged up early.
A 6/6 Edwin that is going to prove to be a pain for Obviously to deal with. This is pretty much the situation you want this more than any other.
And Avi looks like he might just ignore it and play the bow and go face.
And he's playing Misdirection as a secret. You do not see that often.
Yeah, not your typical secret from Face Hunter, although there are many Face Hunters that do like that as just an additional option that can create some problems. A2 going in with as much pressure as he can. When you stick a big Edwin, you try to win that race. And look at that broken trade maw, not hitting the place. Avi does have a reasonable play here with the explosive trap. May also choose to scavengers just to find one of those beasts in his deck, most likely a boar. Could also play the misdirection right afterwards. So 2 secrets for A2 to think about. And A2 might be thinking that it's actually a freezing trap. Test for freezing.
Oh,
Doesn't see
God.
it, and there is going to be a lot of damage going back A2's way, getting punished by the misdirection, and sending 7 face damage back on himself.
The good news is, though, A2 does have the Bone Wraith, which is not going to be something that Avi's going to be able to get through easily. And the Van Cleef is still up there, being able to provide some massive damage.
And Avi just going in with the Phase Stalker, get another secret. The secret that it pulls is another explosive trap, which can just kill the Bone Wraith.
I hope A2 sees the play that I'm seeing, because this is an absurd play right now. Yeah, he sees it. Oh my God. My goodness.
A2, I'm a bit surprised that he played that Bone Wraith before attacking with Edwin. Maybe was trying to play around a second misdirection to just give Edwin another target that's not his own face.
I'm going to assume that, because that's the only reason I can think of for him playing that right there.
And Avi pulling yet another Phase Stalker, a buffed one at this point, but staring down, most likely just lethal, unless this Phase Stalker pulls a useful secret. Already knows that Explosive Trap is
Doesn't
gone,
pull any secrets.
so he
Oh,
doesn't
man.
run any secrets in this deck besides 2 explosives and a misdirection, which means A2 will take game 1, and obviously his Face Hunter is eliminated.
Oh man.
It's a pretty unexpected start. You usually expect Hunter to be very favored against Rogue in all forms, but A2 played that perfectly.
So, and A2 obviously getting a big Edwin early often is the difference maker in any kind of fast matchup like that, where the face hunter doesn't run any kind of removal for Edwin. Even after taking the 7 face damage from the misdirect, the Bone Wraith came up huge there, blocking Avi's damage. And now Avi's down to Rogue and Warlock, with A2 still having his Rogue up and Demon Hunter and Hunter behind. And this Warlock, not a
this
Quest
is
Warlock.
Zoo. Huh.
Also slightly favorable against Rogue. But once again, we see A2 holding a 3-mana card that gets charged up out of control when you play cards. He is going to throw it back along with the backstab, probably expecting that he's up against a Quest Warlock, and he's going to get the news soon that this is not the matchup he's expecting.
Yeah, we're just gonna see the coin Scrap Imp. Just such a good opener.
I can't move.
I never lie.
And Hanar to answer, knowing that it's unlikely Avi is going to be able to remove this Hanar.
There is, well, yep. There's nope. There's no
Based
way
on
he
its
can do it.
hand, there isn't any possible way to remove it, which means A2 can start going off with
Home
secrets.
is where the wagon
He can get 2 right now, and he's going to
And
want
then
to
he
do
can
it.
shadow step it back.
Most likely takes the Paladin secret. He does, plays it immediately. And now I would expect anything that's 2 mana that's cheap, so you can keep going off with Hanar. Most likely going to shadow step the Hanar too, I would think.
I think the
Interesting.
flame ward makes sense though. Yeah, that's gonna.
Avi going in with the emotes, I like it. A2 electing not to shadow step, thinking,
And he
you know,
won't get
Hanar
punished.
is probably not going to get killed, even if you have a rusher. You know, he does have the noble sacrifice to protect this. Avi holding some buffed minions and elects to tap, so we're going to see the Voidwalker.
Why do you call?
And knows now that that real secret is not an ambush. A2 once again with some interesting options here.
I think this is shadow step.
Wings of evil.
It's felt
Yeah.
safe so far from any ways to kill Hanar. Do you think now he shadow steps it? We're going to leave it on the... So
Oh right, because he's got the noble sacrifice to protect it. So
not
but we
getting
will see the
any
punish.
more... Yep,
Poppy
but
does have 2 attackers.
of
Poppy
course,
has multiple attackers here actually.
on 4 mana, and Og Merchant could have also rushed the carpet if he chose to, but just wants to leave it with as much health as possible. Testing for that means that he is going to be able to clear Hanar.
Yeah, I mean, it was a smart play to just ping off the 1/1 instead of rushing the carpet, because at that point you're probably putting the carpet into the 1/1 anyways. So it just makes it a 3/5 instead of a 3/7.
Oh, up to no good? Me too.
And A2 just going for Lackey Generation and a little bit of board presence. Avi on the other side. Og Merchant could be another rusher if he chooses.
It's still good. No, don't. It's still good.
And these expired merchants can present a lot of problems for A2. Once they're already representing a lot of attack power, and once they die, they also create some value.
Very nice flame ward here though.
Flame Ward, absolutely very strong in response to this board. It's
It's also-
going to block all the damage but 4. Actually,
this is also
7.
going to leave. Oh yeah, but this is also going to leave A2 with a fantastic questing adventurer into Kobold Lackey play to clear off whatever's left. So that works nicely. Like even though obviously he's going to be able to protect
2 of these
I got you,
protect an
friend.
additional minion. from the
Avi
Flame
playing
Ward.
around Flame Ward here, going for max damage on this turn right now. Sees the Flame Ward, but gets a lot of value right back in the hand. And just gonna throw down another carpet.
Oh wow, he's actually going to play the Cloud Wax instead. Okay, that actually makes sense. Play the Wand. Yeah, this is going to be pretty huge. I'm almost wondering, do you Shadow Step the Cobalt or the Togwag? Okay, the Togwag.
We can see Avi give all of his 1-drops plus 3 attack aim rush here. If he plays the 3rd carpet.
If he plays 1 Matron, he has to discard the others, so...
Tapping still has not been able to find one of his strongest cards in this deck, which is the Hand of Gul'dan for discard,
I got you, friend.
draw, but is able to push still significant damage and have a dangerous board. Now A2 needs to have a wand here.
He needs that
and
flick.
Those are bricks.
I mean, backstab isn't bad. Normally you'd be kind of upset with it, but it's not bad to do with the board here.
I mean, backstab could be worse, because
Yeah.
at least he does get to clear a little bit of damage, 4 damage from that sidekick. But those were not the 0 mana cards he was looking for
I find
primarily.
it kind of interesting he didn't put the dagger into the 4th row. Like, yeah, you're taking the
Yeah, I
board
was
damage,
wondering
but
that too.
You clear it, and you're going to be taking that 4 anyways this turn.
And Avi has 9 damage on board. With the Soulfire means he's 1 off lethal.
That isn't
It
it.
still doesn't find it. Matron will discard Matron, but can clear up the Togwaggle.
You were just a bird.
Already knows that this spell is a dirty trick, or this secret is a dirty tricks.
The light protects me.
This clears out the board, creates another sticky board, and pushes enough damage to set up for lethal next turn.
And I don't see the way A2 can answer this.
Well, that does help a bit.
It does, but he's going to need more than that.
Could be a start, but the first thing he has to do is also get something out of his hand in order to draw. So, yep, he's just gonna go with Flick now and play the wand and pray that it hits Galakrond, basically. And it does not, which means that's gonna be game over here. There's no way for A2 to prevent the remaining damage that's incoming. So the Soulfire is just overkill. The board alone is enough for lethal.
That's it. Yep. 1-1.
Yeah.
And down
Yeah.
goes A2's rogue.
Avi could have even discarded the Hand of Gul'dan there at the end.
That early imp was really a big deciding factor.
Oh yeah, that really isn't so many maps. It's just such a strong card.
Yeah, as is seemingly always the case in the strongest Zoo Warlock games. Early scrap imp wins games.
But A2 now switching to the Demon Hunter, which is pretty ideal here.
So Demon Hunter versus Zoo Warlock here. A2 picking up some strong early game cards. Avi finally found that Hand of Gul'dan in the last game and also holding it in this game, but does not have the Scrap Imp this time around.
Well, you can't have it every game, even with that deck.
Interesting to see the Bone Chewer Brawlers in Aviously's hand.
I like it though. I like the idea behind it.
A2, I thought maybe he would consider playing a second Battle Mage here, choosing to take it a little bit slower instead.
And we see he is playing the Ivy, which is a card that used to be a staple of the deck, but not as much anymore, interestingly enough.
Yeah, and a very solid draw off the top to be able to clear this minion and not have to take any damage or lose a minion.
That's an upgrade. Probably.
He's clearly
Avi on the other
recognizing-
side.
Yeah.
This is just such a fast opening for A2. The question is he going to be able to have enough value to make it to the end game? He's already starting to run a bit low on cards.
We see Avi has quite the refill if he ever picks up on one of those expired merchants that can guarantee discard hand and draw 3. Still, A2 has quite a strong hand at the moment.
From Avi here, it could be interesting if he gets a 1-drop next turn. He could even just go to a roll and play the 1-drop and Soulfire.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on what he draws. Oof.
More
That's
Soulfires.
not exactly what I meant by 1-drop.
I mean, he does have a guarantee. Soulfire
You're
could
kidding me.
discard Soulfire.
You're kidding me.
Wow, Avi taking the chance.
I'm salty after that, I'm not going to lie.
Didn't even drop the Bone Chewer first to have a guarantee of.
Well, no, it's not a guarantee because
Actually,
if the
no,
Soulfire
it could have
is a
it could
Soulfire.
have discarded the other Soulfire. That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, that's pretty big, though.
No, yeah, the way he did it was the only way it was guaranteed because, or no, he is still not guaranteed if the Soulfire discards the Soulfire.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Second I-beam also pretty big for A2 here, just to keep contesting. But with the rest of his mana, probably just needs to drop the Battle Fiend and the Battle Mage, hero power, and fight for board.
It's gonna feel so bad swinging here with the weapon. You want to save it for one more turn to get the depth value.
You do, but at the same time, it's... You know, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's just not ideal.
Navi holding carpet,
Oh, boy.
had a one, top decks another one,
That's
and
right.
this is big for Obviously here, getting to completely clear the board.
Oh,
2 Adepts in
Aw.
hand, nothing to do but tempo it out, and A2 is going to get some seriously bad news with this 1-card hand of Avi being a Soulfire that clears an Adept. The alternative is Hero Power Pass, so of course he has to play the Adept. And Avi just going to play the Scrap Imp and play the Soulfire and tap.
Yep.
hey, I mean, at least for A2, Avi didn't top deck the second hand. That would have been.
This is true.
We'll see the expired merchant though.
Now we see a lot of damage coming back A2's way. Very easy play here. Press the button, kill the minion, play the Adept, kill the other minion. But with the Matron in hand, Avi once again has a pretty solid
I
play.
don't know about that tap there. I kind of like just playing the Berserker and then the Matron so you didn't discard anything.
Yeah,
The
I
tap
kinda
was a
agree
bit
with that.
greedy. He was already paid off before the hand of Gul'dan, probably just looking for another one. Gets punished this time around as far as value is concerned.
Step up! Job done.
Well, the upside for A2 is that Avi isn't going to be able to buff more than 1 minion off of that Imp. So, but he's really looking to top deck a Skull more than anything right now.
That is a strong minion to buff, and
The light
once again,
protects
Avi, granted his whole deck is full of 1-cost cards for exactly the carpet, but this is still very strong to pick this up.
Time for a little blood.
And the carpet can finally die.
Oh, wow.
A2 now has the option of Warglaves, which could actually clear up the entire board.
And so much damage though.
You take a lot of damage, but when it comes down to it, with one player in full top deck mode and the other player leading in health and having a button that draws you cards, this looks like it's pretty favorable for Obviously.
I think A2 definitely has to smack face and trade in the 1-1.
Yep.
You cannot afford to take any more damage.
Nope.
This will be close. That's
Correct.
not a useful card right now for Avi.
That
That's
is
not
not particularly useful either.
It's still a minion on the board. He might want to play it. Just gonna hold it back. And big draw for A2 as far as damage is
More
concerned.
damage.
If Avi keeps pressing the button, A2 can get there with the top deck.
another
Oh
odd
man.
Oh man, oh my god. Ooh,
Oh,
he
but there's a
He does
taunt.
get the taunt.
Avi holding it back.
Oh man.
off lethal. Oh my god.
And
It's lethal!
that ends the
Oh
game in
my
favor
God!
of the Demon Hunter. What a draw. And Avi wanting to buff that Voidwalker with Scrap Imp, about to wake up, sees the bad news. The taunt would have blocked this, left himself open, and there is 11 damage he chose. 10 damage is enough, apparently.
That is insane.
You've got to be kidding me.
Big win for A2 in Game 3. Eliminates that Zoo Warlock for Aviously, and Avi is now down to his final class. The Demon Hunter will stay up for A2 Battleship. He still has one class remaining in his Hunter, and for Aviously, it is down to his Rogue, which does have quite the favorable matchup as far as Demon Hunter is concerned. Generally, Rogue is fairly heavily favored after all of these Demon Hunter nerfs. So we may be headed for a Game 5 unless A2 can find early pressure and dodge those removals.
I do like 2 of these opening cards in A2's hand, and obviously I think I like 2 of them in his as well.
Yeah, Avi very much wants to have a backstab in his opening hand, and Eviscerate can be quite useful for higher health minions, such as the Brawler or the Adept. Chooses to throw them back, gets another backstab and a sap.
Evil draws close.
Both these players have decent opening hands as far as like getting some early momentum going, so it'll be interesting to see how their draws develop things as time goes on.
I'll be finding the wrapped golem. That could be very annoying for A2 to deal with if this game goes
If it goes
up.
far enough, yeah.
Absolutely can, and considering the Bone Chewer Brawler on turn 2 elects to play the top deck Battle Fiend and get it charged up, Avi immediately with Praise Galakron is certainly going to look to play the backstab we would expect. And also getting that Lackey down. What are the Dragons? Very quick pick. Alexstrasza, Malagos, and Draconid, if I'm not right, and takes the untargetable taunt.
I'm a little surprised he didn't opt to go for the Aug Merchant here. I mean, I guess it's better because it would have gotten sapped, but that would have been, you know, normally it would have been pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah, just wanted to clear off the Lackey instead. Both players playing at a breakneck pace at the moment. Avi going with tanking 4 damage just to keep his minion alive and clearing this up. Daggering up, pushing some damage, and still holding the coin. Gonna have some power turns potentially. Very interesting list again from Avi, running a Devoted Maniac and a Sap. Both cards have recently fallen out of style for Rogue, but these are cards that he main decks in his list.
And we're going to see the Maniac actually paying off big here.
Yeah, Maniac very good against 2 health minions. Here's A2 putting a couple 2 health minions on the board, and Avi with the option of, you know, just taking them both out.
Avi really needs to find a stealth minion soon.
Going with a taunt Lackey, I would think that he'd want to taunt up the Maniac in event of possibly a Witchy Lackey. But goes with taunting the Pharaoh Cat instead. Here comes the Altruist, here comes the Twin Slice. Once again, A2's clearing this up and daring Avi to have an answer for yet another scary 2 health minion.
And Avi's only answer to it right now is that sap,
A
which isn't
cruel
actually going to
fate
clear
awaits
anything.
you in the ashes.
And still just needs to play for tempo, sapping the Ultras. We can see a very strong play on the other side from A2,
Ooh,
also
that's a
picking up
really
a
good one.
Warglaves. Instead of even needing to hero power and Glade-bound Mesa elect to do so, but looks very tempted by the Warglaves here.
Warglaves isn't bad, but I understand wanting to maybe rebel over the board and just clear that off, knowing the Warglaves plus the second slice could be huge in the coming turns.
And this is exactly the kind of start that Demon Hunter likes to have a chance at winning this game, although that top deck stealth minion is massive for Avi, as he's able to not only play Sage, but Shadow Step it and play it again, drawing 4 cards, and look at those power cards he's drawn. Galakron, Kronks, everything he wants.
And we're going to see now Avi is going to be able to clear this entire board, getting not a lot of damage in. This is pretty huge.
A2 going off with a Divine Shielded Ultra, and this is just tons of damage. Avi maybe wanted to play that Galakron on 7. Pretty much dead if he does. So
Yeah.
now he looks to be almost out of options.
I think I would just slam the Draconoid here. Or unless he's looking. No, actually, no. You want to play the
No,
Eviscerate.
yeah, he's going to play the shield so he can at least clear off the A deck with the Eviscerate.
Yeah.
And as we can see from A2's hand, this is going to be a championship for Tam Surf Slam.
It will.
Well played.
Wow.
That's a Warglaves getting right through the taunt.
Yep, that is going to be just enough.
Well played.
And a very exciting series throughout. A2 coming up with a huge win back against the wall against the Warlock, and then taking a victory in an unfavorable match. Congratulations to Tam Surf Slam.
Your season 12 Euro Series champions.
Oh my
Tam Surf
god.
Slam. Let's get A2 in here.
Oh my gosh.
What a series.
Oh my goodness gracious, we did it.
So there we go. That's going to be the first ever championship for Tampams.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is their like 9th season. Hello.
We've been around for a while. Let's put it that way.
Congratulations, A2.
Fuck, man. Holy
Dude.
I was not expecting that. Avi,
Yeah.
Avi loves to play with my mind, and he definitely did that time.
Yeah, those were some spicy decks that Avi brought, and really impressed with how that that series went from your end. There were some spectacular plays to get through in sometimes what seemed to be really dire situations. Just so you know, we thought it was very interesting. In the Warlock versus Demon Hunter game, Avi elected to not play his Voidwalker and chose to actually hold it back to get the buff, and that was the difference in game 3, I believe it was.
Oh, I was like, I'm like, that's probably a shield bearer in hand, where it's like it doesn't add anything to the board, so it's like, but I was close. I was like, I was thinking he was gonna draw something taunty off the top.
Yeah, so just choosing to take the buff, thinking that you were gonna have the burst there, but that Chaos Strike draw was massive, and that gave you just enough to get through. And then, what were you thinking when you got to that final turn where you had the lethal setup after Ultras?
Oh, after that last game, I was like, this feels good. I'm happy. I had a nice long vacation. I I did uh, I did a little bit of preparation, but I made sure to give myself some time to cool down. And I think one of the things that really gets me off my game is that I just really overthink things. I take and I internalize the losses, and I have that kind of thought that I just don't want to screw it up. And um, I forgot what the original question was.
No worries. Just wanted to know what was going through your mind
Oh,
when you
I
were
mean,
right on the verge of the championship. You're thinking, if he doesn't, find some crazy way to clear up my board, I've
yeah.
got the damage, and this is it.
Yeah, that
Tanpams
was
wins.
very cathartic. And it means a lot to me when it's against Avi, because Avi is very gracious and nice towards me, and he really is like, he says I'm good when I don't believe him sometimes. And uh and I want to prove it to myself. Like, when you tell someone, "Oh, you're doing great," it's different from like beating them and it being like something where you had to really think about it. And I can tell he really put effort into his lineup, because he knows me too well. He knows how I think he thinks, and I feel like he uses that to his advantage, because I was expecting uh not Face Hunter, not Zoo Warlock, and probably Galakrond Stealth Rogue. That was the one thing I got right, was that he was probably going to bring Stealth Rogue, and the differences between those two decks are so negligible in terms of win rate that doesn't really give me an advantage.
Right.
But it's nice, because I came into this championship through Avi, or through this THL through Avi, and now I can kind of, and Avi is probably one of the highest regarded players in THL. And when the story behind what how I met him was, I was playing Tespa with some people from my university, and he was on the other team, and they lauded him as this kind of Hearthstone god of the university scene. And I was like, I gotta meet this guy. And he just, every time I played against him, he just eviscerated us. It was not even funny. It was like he just pound for pound beat us down. And there was
So
actually one week where the playoffs was double elimination, and he beat us twice.
so you're looking at like the ultimate cathartic moment here, getting a
Oh yeah.
victory in spectacular fashion over Avi. I'd just like to point out how much of a nice bow this puts on your season. Not
Oh
only is that a 10-win season for Hero, where you made All Stars, you got your team the championship in decisive 3-1 fashion in the final match of a tied up 10-10 series. You did it against your longtime friend and frequent, I guess, winner of your matches, obviously. And this makes you one of the members of very elite company. This is your second THL championship this season.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
So congratulations, A2. Congratulations, Tanpams. That was a very exciting set of matches. I'm so thrilled to have had the opportunity and pleasure to cast so many of these, and this was I don't think we could have asked for more.
It's been incredible. Like, what a run! I'm proud to call A2 my team, because he came through for us in so many important
Oh yeah.
spots. Like, this man delivered. He absolutely deserved All Stars. He absolutely deserved the record he finished with. Like, seriously, like, this was. Oh my god, I'm still in shock by this. This is crazy.
I
That's right.
mean,
We shouldn't forget that JR, member of our casting team right now, is also a member of Tanpams, heavily sweating all of these matches, doing his best to stay unbiased sounding. Good job, and congratulations to JR as well.
Thank you.
I
Like,
mean, this team was incredible. Mike V brought me into the team, and it was so nice. Probably one of the first people I knew before I even knew THL was a thing. I met him through like a specialist tournament Discord, and he was great. And he just said, "Hey, you want to be on this team?" And I said, "Sure." And I just wanted to like spread myself out. I just didn't want to be like just stuck with Avi forever. I wanted to like experience everyone else. And he brought me in, and uh, I think this is my second time playing or contacting JR after I was probably of a much worse temperament, and he was 30 minutes late to a match, and and he spanked me with because I was playing Murloc Paladin, and I just was not getting
I
what
still
I
feel so
wanted.
bad about that match to this day because it was the one time I ever incorrectly remembered the time I was supposed to play somebody. It was the only time.
I was like,
That's
wow,
funny.
what a jerk. I had a bad habit. I've tried not doing this, but I've had a bad habit of like antagonizing the people I'm playing against to like light a fire under myself, and I realized that that just makes it more frustrating to lose. And thankfully, I've stopped doing that because you hear one side for so long, or you hear no side, and you just assume things are like bad. But these are people who are incredibly competent in not just Hearthstone but other stuff. And
So thrilling competition,
oh
excitement,
yeah,
and personal growth all here at THL.
I just want to
oh yeah,
say something real fast. Twitch chat, 49 viewers right now.
really.
Everyone for showing up.
Yep. So that shows how important this match was and how I guess really everybody just cheering for their favorite squad there in Hero Series. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a set of matches. We saw that Spies That Flies was the odds-on favorite seemingly all season long, and Tanpam's just fighting through a very solid team that actually was one of Spies' only losses this whole season, and just proving it was not a fluke by getting the victory, getting the championship, and I'd also just like to ask for you, Ted, as the essentially the Hero Series commissioner. Are there any words that you'd like to say at the close of this exciting season?
I mean, just thank everybody for probably one of the most exciting and just like skillful seasons yet. Obviously we've talked about this a lot on Saloon, and we'll talk it a lot more. And just really congrats to the Tampams crew, especially Lefty and Ozmanaut, who have been there pretty much since the beginning. They've had a lot of Hero Series seasons, and to finally get that first victory is huge for them.
And we have just hit the point in the broadcast where it is official. You can go out and tell everybody with no fear of spoilers.
Don't worry, I already
We've
did.
we've caught up to the
We're
live
literally about to
broadcast.
get to that point.
Yep.
Oh god.
Any final words from you, A2? Shout out to give. Otherwise, I know you've already mentioned a few things, but just as final closing
Yeah.
words here.
All right. Well, first off, shout out to my entire team. Lefty is the captain. Me, Martin, JR, Oz, and Mike. They're all great. I
Alrighty.
couldn't be more happy with the team I had, especially since they kept winning. Shout out to the great people I've faced in the one seed. Dabs, or I didn't face Base Ink, but I faced Base Ink other places, and I'm sad that she wasn't a one seed, and I wish I faced her in Hero. Avi, of course, Blue Spartan, a few others that I can't remember. Itachi, someone I also played in Hero, but he also helped me out a lot. This week and the previous week with a little bit of practice and a little bit of theory, which I really appreciated. It's humbling to get that kind of help from someone who really shouldn't, especially since I tend to like, oh, I'm not in this thing. I'm just going to not pay attention to it at all. Um, you, RonMexico, I forgot that was another one seat I played.
Oh, I don't remember that one. I blacked out.
Of course you did. And shout outs to people who allow me to keep playing. My parents who are happy enough that I'm happy with what I'm doing. My girlfriend who is right here and has been so supportive of me through a
Aw.
lot of
Hey, taking
stuff.
a page out of Lemur's book. Smart.
Uh,
Call out the significant other. Give him recognition. Well played.
also, shout out Lemur's girlfriend.
Nice.
Wife, you mean?
Oh yeah, wife, whatever. uh, um, uh, just people who old Tespa teammates, Max, um, people who have been a lot of emotional support to me in the Hearthstone scene, Corbin, Bill Snyder especially, Ace 103, I played last champ, but I think that was in pro, and he was a great guy. All Spies that flies, they're all great, including Super Murloc, the captain. This list could go on and on.
That's awesome. I love that you have such a list, but we don't have to keep you any longer, so you can go celebrate with your teammates. I'm sure you're probably anxious to get to partying it up for winning the title. But once again, congratulations to you and TanPams.
Thank you so much.
It's over.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
First
and we will
championship.
have, of course, a final show of Saloon coming in on Tuesday, where we are going to have our guests, the champions themselves, TanPam Surf Slam.
Woohoo!
Who?
Yeah.
So stay tuned for Tuesday for a special championship show.
Yeah, and I just want to one last shout out. I want to give just giant thank you to both Spies and TanPams for getting every match on stream.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that
our
was
pleasure.
incredible
Oh,
to
yeah.
have every match. Special thank you, yeah, especially to A2 and Avi. We weren't sure that we were actually going to be able to get this match on stream, and they definitely came through for us with quite a thrilling show, and it's much appreciated.
Yeah, it was a great to host it, and it was a definite pleasure for everybody here that's casting. So
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, I was like trying so hard to contain myself throughout all of this because I knew like once an actual like final outcome was done, I was gonna be relatively emotional one way or another. So I'm like
I
really
feel a
glad.
little emotional right now too.
I know, right? We're gonna have to get in VC soon and just like
hug it out.
and properly celebrate Ozmanaut's orders.
That's right. Yeah, well, you guys earned it, so enjoy yourselves for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I need to
It was
send a
quite
stick to
season.
Marty. Holy moly!
I
Winning
know,
that game.
right?
That's
Yeah, that was a huge one.
one of the games that you just say, oh, Base is winning that, and you just you skip over that in the podcast.
Seriously.
You know,
Oh my
and especially
God.
he was on a bit of a losing streak, so I didn't really expect him to turn it back around. I thought he would, but he really rose from the ashes.
Yeah, talk about
He
coming
did.
in clutch.
It was incredible to watch. That was quite a series.
I kind of wish
And-
that was the last game. That would have been an awesome end to the series too.
I honestly thought every match to watch was very thrilling, just because like there were some very close games. Like even from our losses, like my match with Lotus had some really intense moments towards the end. Like, I think these were all just matches worthy of being on stream, and I'm glad we managed to work it out.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps everything up. So I want to thank everybody that tuned in, all the 49 viewers that we did have. Thank you, JRJuggerlaw, the Big Ted, and RonMexico for casting. And obviously, congrats to TanPam Surf Slam for winning the chip. So.
Yeah, shout out to everybody. Our whole team was just.
Yeah.
Oh, also, we can't be remiss to also shout out Itachi for coming in and being just a huge source of support and inspiration throughout the playoffs. He was determined to help us win and really put us over the top, and I can't thank him enough for that.
Perfect.
Yeah, it definitely paid off. But once again, thanks everyone for tuning in. Congratulations to our champions. And thank you everyone who took time out of your day to come join us for an exciting cast. This wraps up the THL competitive season. We do still have All-Star games coming up though, and we always have some off-season events. So stay tuned to this channel for more exciting Hearthstone related content. But that's going to do it for us for tonight.
Take care, everybody, and we will see you Monday night for Legacy All-Stars.
Have a great night, everyone.
Can I say the last
Great
word?
night, everybody.
Sure. Very quick.
Chugga chugga.
Chug it. Awesome.
Don't you mean Jugga?
Jugga juggernaut, yeah.
All right.
See ya.
Good night, everybody.